Some days I just don't feel my hottest. And that's today's one of those days. I don't know. My hair is just it's growing out. It's half blonde, kind of dark at the root, and I don't know. I want to get my hair done. And that's okay. Sometimes we're just not always going to feel our sexiest and our confidence is going to fluctuate. What a great way to segue into the topic of this episode. Hi, welcome back to Human to Human. I'm Jess, and this actually has been a requested episode topic. If you would like to request a topic, ask a question, tell me a TMI story that I get to share on the show, go to the show notes on my website, humantohumanpod.com. There's a section where you can submit a story, and I am getting prepared with some holiday content. So please, if you are interested and feel called to share something that you struggle with the most over the holidays, it could be a story, it could just be a sentence, it could be a question, it could be a small thing you deal with internally, let me know. Let me know, because I would love to talk about specific holiday issues that are relevant to you. So to get into the TMI story of today, it's going to be about my brother. Love you, brother. And it's not crazy TMI, but I just think it's something that I want him to come on the podcast and talk about this eventually, but it's totally in relevance to confidence and how much I've seen his confidence shift, because like having a sibling, they are one of the closest people to you just in proximity, and by the people who raised you, I would not say we're the most similar, but we understand our parents in a way that no one else will ever get, obviously, because we were both raised by them. And so being very close in age as well, we're very, very close in age, being very close in age with my brother for our whole lives, I have seen him really change as a person, and specifically change in his confidence. So when we were young, I feel like I was a lot more like, outgoing and talkative and expressive and all this stuff. And he was very like, he didn't like to do things that were really competitive. He didn't grow up doing like hockey or anything like that. Classic Canadians. We were like, he wasn't doing hockey. He went to like art camp. Like he was very creative, like visually. He would like to go to the river near our house and just throw rocks. He was not just like a very sporty, hanging with the bros kind of kid. I have to poo and then I'll be back. This is what happens when I record in the morning. And I'm back. I shit. Yeah, it's all good. My brother's always been someone who had like a few very, very close friends. And so I noticed just this crazy shift in his confidence when I grew up doing acting and musical theater. And in my acting class, we were short boys one time. We didn't have someone to play the prince in Cinderella. So I came home and kind of just like mentioned it to my family. My brother ended up joining the acting class, and it was so cool because I remember my acting teacher, that we became really close with everybody at the studio. He said after so many years of us being there, my brother ended up staying in the class and coming every year, and my acting teacher was like, the transformation I saw in your brother was insane. Like he showed up being so quiet and young and awkward and nervous to someone who's really confident and outspoken and just more comfortable in his own skin. So he, kind of went from like an awkward kid to a more confident, teenager in that time frame. And then it happened again when in high school, I like started partying kind of before my brother, and I was just going out all the time. And that's kind of like a difficult dynamic, I think, when I'm the younger one. Linear narrative is that you look up to your sibling who's doing all those things first. So it was like a kind of a challenging dynamic to navigate between us. And then when he went to university, he stayed home and commuted, and again had like a few close friends, went out once in a while, but nothing crazy. And I was partying and moving out and like doing all this crazy shit, and I was just like YOLOing. And my brother was studying hard, and we had a very like, opposites kind of in a way. And then he went to Western for his master's, and he literally became a frat boy. Not literally because he wasn't in a frat, but like grown out beard, partying every weekend, like going hard, meeting different girls, and just became this incredibly confident man in his early 20s. And it's so funny because when my boyfriend and I started dating, my brother was entering this phase in his life where he went to Western and became the most confident I've literally ever seen him. And my boyfriend is like, your brother is the coolest man ever. And I'm like, relax. Like, I have seen him through every stage. I do not think my brother is the coolest person ever in that sense. But it just shows that, like, over time, we really do shift, and the environments that we're in really impacts our confidence. And I have had my own confidence journey in such a different way than my brother, in a way where people could be like, oh my God, you became lame, because him and I were opposites. I was partying hard. He was like studying more hard, keeping more to himself. And then we swapped, and now I'm not drinking and I'm not partying really hard. I'm more keeping to myself. I have a few close friends. I'm not like, full of friend groups and all this stuff. And my brother switched, and he has a big friend group now, and he goes out all the time. Right now he's traveling the world, and I'm literally living with my parents. We switched roles, but in such a different way. Like, it's so, you can't just make a blanket statement of like, we switched roles. It appears like I became like how he was before, but I have grown into confidence in my own complete way, where there were parts of me that didn't feel good drinking all the time, or there were parts of me that struggled with friendships, and I have really changed. My confidence has improved because I'm advocating for my needs now, in terms of, oh no, alcohol wasn't feeling good for me. It was fun, and I did enjoy that phase in my life, but there was something really tugging within me saying, I don't want this, but then I was doing it. I don't want this, but then I was doing it. So that to say, everyone's path is different with confidence, and it changes depending on where you're at in your life. And I think literally, like, making sure you're trying to have your actions line up with your intentions of who you are and what your desires are and what makes you feel good and what makes you happy is the thing that literally can improve your confidence more than anything else, because you're like, oh my God, okay, I'm not waking up regretful of things or hating myself or whatever. And that's not to say my way of doing it is the right way, because the way my brother's living his life right now, he is fucking living the best life he could. He is so happy. I'm barely hearing from him because he's literally just hopping between islands, meeting so many people, having so much fun. So our confidence looks completely different on the outside. I don't know on the inside how it feels, but for myself, I know that it feels good and I feel more secure in myself. And these past couple weeks, now that I'm like settled into living back with my parents all the time, and I have a job, and like my day-to-day life looks a bit more consistent, I have so much more like mental space for things, where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not incredibly anxious about what this person might think of me or what I need to do next. Like, I am feeling so much more confident in where I'm going in my life. And at the same time, I'm like still adjusting to not being in school, and I'm like, what is this life? This is so weird. We wake up and we basically do the same thing every day. Like, we're just living in Groundhog Day. What's going on? I think this is just a natural progression of being a human, honestly. Speaking of confidence, I literally cannot record this episode. I keep stopping and starting because my dad is right outside my door working out in complete silence. And when you work out in complete silence and there's only a door between you, you can hear every single fucking word I'm saying. So I have confidence in some areas of my life, and then other areas where I'm just like, sometimes it's just not going to fly. I'm just not going to record an episode when he is literally going to hear every word I'm saying. That makes me feel so fucking uncomfortable. We all have our things. I'm just waiting to hear the sound of the treadmill turn on so I know he's watching a movie in his ears and can't hear me talking. Yeah, my dad will watch a movie and walk on the treadmill for 45 minutes. Let's talk about society, because so much of, I think, specifically my experience as a woman and my confidence relates to the societal messaging we receive, saying we should be small, we should not make people uncomfortable, we should not make demands of people, we should not be powerful, we should not command space. And that's why I love Taylor Swift, because so much of her songs are about that and talking back to the societal expectations of that and being like, fuck that shit. And I have noticed this weirdly in my experience going to the gym. I will go to the gym and I have a workout plan that I've been doing with a trainer. I tag him often on my Instagram story, but if you're interested, message me and I'll give you his details. He's amazing. And sometimes I'm in the gym and I'm like, you're literally a psycho. What am I doing right now? This is insane. But I'm at the gym and part of my workout plan is to like go on turf, and there's a very, very small like area of turf at my gym. It's like just like fake grass. If you don't know what turf is, I have felt and still do feel so uncomfortable kind of claiming my space and using that area, even though I use it for maybe 15 minutes max. But I get so uncomfortable being like, oh my gosh, I'm like taking up this much space at the gym. And I'm like, whoa, that's fucked. The gym is there to be used. And why should I feel scared to take up space any more or less than like the dude next to me? And that was just such a aha moment of like, bitch, take up space. You are here to take up space. It's okay for you to claim your space. If someone needs to use this area, they can come up to you and say, hey, when will you be done? Or hey, can I use this area after you? And that's fine. And pushing myself to take up more space is what's helped me build a little bit more confidence. I was at the gym literally the other day. It was an all women's gym too. And it was really, really busy. It was like peak time of busyness at the gym. And I was trying out a new workout sequence that I hadn't done before. I got so overwhelmed that I wanted to just leave. I thought, am I just going to leave and not finish this? And then I was like, no, Jess, just like take it one exercise at a time. You don't have to do them in order. Just like pick the one you feel like you can do the easiest right now. And I ended up completing the whole workout plan. Yay, woohoo. But I just really started to recognize that in my body and in my mind, being like, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. But that wasn't the truth of it. The truth of it is that I was scared to take up space and claim what's rightfully mine just as much as it's rightfully the woman next to me. And I loved it. At one point, a woman came out to me and she was like, how many more reps do you have? And I'm like, oh my God, I have this many more reps. She's like, can you let me know when you're done so I can use this machine? I'm like, oh my God, yes, of course. And I felt like I made a friend. I literally have not even 5 minute. I have like 30-second conversations with people at the gym and I'm like, I made a new friend. But this is just to say that something that's really helped me when my negative self-talk is trying to like strip me of my confidence is I will catch it in the moment and try and call it out. And it's like a skill that you have to like work on and try to like, you know, you start to catch it faster and faster every time you do it. But like if you're getting really, really hard on yourself, sometimes it's important to take a step back and be like, whoa, where is this coming from? Is this fact or is this fear? Ooh, that's a quote. Is this a fact or is this just a fear in my own head? And something I can push through and challenge myself to try harder with it and have that build your confidence. Speaking of the gym, I am so fucking sore today. So many parts of my body are sore because I'm doing a new week of my workout plan. And I thought of an analogy while I was brushing my teeth this morning that when you're doing something brand new, it's gonna hurt in a way, not like pain hurt, but it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to make you sore, whether that's physically sore. Like I am physically sore because that's a sign from my body. Like you just did something you've never done. And this is like really uncomfortable. We're not used to it. So in the same sense, when you do something or say something or act a way you've never done, it's going to be really uncomfortable and your mind is going to be like, danger, 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 danger. And an example again is like for me not drinking at a party for the first time and people being like, oh, you're not drinking? That my brain was like, I've never answered this question before. I've never done this before. I'm scared. But what builds confidence is doing it anyway, pushing past the fear and being like, no, I can go talk to that person. I went up to Shawn Mendes. I met Shawn Mendes. And when I think back to it, I cringe so fucking hard, but I did it. And I knew in the moment I would regret not going up to him and talking to him and showing him my podcast, which like, it was a quick combo. We don't need to get into it, but just like, you know, it doesn't have to be that far-fetched of like a celebrity, but I've thought of that in terms of like, if you think someone's really cool or cute or hot, like you can go up to someone and start a conversation and then you move on with your life. But I literally have to catch myself. And this is a skill that again, really helps with building confidence and saying fuck off to that negative self-talk is when I get into a spiral in my brain of like, oh my God, you're such a loser. Why did you say that to Shawn Mendes? That's so weird. Blah, blah. I go, whoop, whoop. I say something out loud to try and stop that negative self-talk from progressing, to just notice it, stop it in its tracks, and be like, you're fine. Literally no one else is thinking about this. There is no way in hell Shawn Mendes is thinking, oh, when I went to see Rachel Hollis in person, that blonde curly hair girl came up to me and was really, really weird. Like, there's no way. I'm just another fucking fan that came up to him, and it probably doesn't even matter at all. But to my own mind and body, it was like, oh my God, I'm such a loser. And the moral of the story of this whole episode and this whole life is that we're all weird. We're all cringy. We're all awkward human beings. And I think we struggle with confidence sometimes because we're so scared of seeming different, of seeming weird, of being isolated and being othered from society. Because what we actually need is human connection. We need social life. We need a social life. We need people who are rooting for us, and we get to root for them too. That's what keeps us mentally okay. So if you're someone who's like, oh, I'm not really social, or like, oh, I'm really, really shy, or oh no, I can't go up to new people and introduce myself. First of all, let's talk about the narrative that you are writing for yourself. That is the story you're telling yourself. And the stories we tell ourselves are the things that we live out. So stop saying you're shy. You don't need to be the person who's fucking caught talking to every single person in the room. That is a whole other playing field. But going up to one person and saying, hey, like, how's your day going? That immediately can break that narrative of, oh, I'm really shy. Saying less doesn't mean you're going to fit in more. The smaller we make ourselves sometimes tricks us into thinking, oh, we're going to fit in then. And everyone's going to think we're normal, quote unquote, normal and cool. But at the end of the day, like, advocating for your needs is going to create change and inspire people in ways that you would never expect. Like, simply the act of going to a party and not drinking and showing the same people I like go to parties with that I don't drink every single time is creating this ripple effect of like, oh, if someone I hang out with thought to themselves, oh my gosh, I really can't handle being hungover tomorrow morning, and thought that they couldn't do it, they could be like, oh, every time I see Jess now, she's not drinking. Oh, I'm sure I could talk to her about that, or I'm sure I could try it out because I've seen her do it. You are creating change that way. And it doesn't have to be in some big outlandish way where you're like, attention everybody, I am not drinking. It's like, no, me just existing, acting exactly as who I am authentically can inspire change for other people too, and inspire people to gain more confidence to do something that they feel good about, or to do something that feels better for them than the thing that they've been doing for their whole lives. And this all kind of like translates into following our dreams too, because I think we all have some sort of dream inside of us, whether it's tiny and it's just once in a while peeking its head out or telling us what it wants, or maybe it's big and it's outlandish and it's like gonna rock our world if it comes true. But following our dream and having the courage to work on that is something that a lot of people aren't going to understand. Me recording a podcast in a bedroom alone right now is something that people don't really understand. Is something I'm embarrassed for my dad to hear me doing. That's okay. He doesn't have to understand what I'm doing. The universe, God, whatever you believe in, put this dream into my head and my body, not my dad's. So I can't expect him to fully understand my passion and my drive for this when he can't see what I see. I see the vision for what I want this to be. And it's a really courageous thing to do. Like, I'm not going to beat around the bush and downplay what I'm doing right now, because I'm speaking into a microphone and putting it out into the world. So you can say whatever the fuck you want about what I'm doing. You could call me a loser, because yeah, it's a little weird. It's a little weird. It's a little bizarre. Me sitting here, especially telling you I had to go poo earlier. Again, something my dad doesn't understand. He does not talk about poo. There's two people in this life. People who like to talk about poo, people who do not like to talk about poo. And I'm sitting here talking about poo on the internet. So of course people are going to think I'm weird and going to like talk shit about me because of that. Talk shit. But am I going to let that change what I'm doing? Am I going to let that affect my confidence? Some days it does. But on the grand scheme of things, on a bigger scale, no, because it's my dream and it's what I want to do and it's what feels good to me. So coming back to the societal expectation of needing to be small, I am pushing against that to be like, no, I'm here to take up space. And that's what helps boost my confidence, is to claim what is rightfully mine. People are like always like, we are born into abundance, which I never fully understood, but we are born authentically, naturally, as exactly who we are. And it is through people and expectations and pressures from our culture that make us smaller as we grow up. So when you're a kid, think about the things you would do as a kid. You would say the most outlandish stuff. You would be so outspoken, but it's through conditioning that we got quiet, of people saying, you can't say that, that's rude. And like, yeah, okay, some of that is important, obviously, or else we would be doing crazy shit all the time. My challenge to you is to try one thing you've been scared to do. Try it and see how it affects your confidence, and notice the language that goes on in your mind about it afterwards, and call yourself out when you hear something negative coming through and be like, but did my inner core true self want to do that? And if the answer is yes, then fuck all that other shit. And the biggest lesson I want you to take away from this is that this all takes practice. So much practice. Slowly inching towards the thing that feels good for you. I never recorded solo episodes when I started my podcast. I never told people that I wasn't drinking when I first started my alcohol-free journey. I still oftentimes don't tell people that I'm not drinking because I don't want to deal with their opinions. That's okay. But inching towards living a life that feels more authentic to who you are is so cool and exciting. And coming back to the thing we all truly need as humans, which is connection, we get connection that is 10 times more fulfilling when we are our real ass selves. When we try and put on this like fake persona or hide parts of ourselves that we're nervous to share, we're not gonna, I hear the treadmill. The treadmill just turned on. Okay, great. I'm about to finish this episode, but my dad's done his silent part of his workout. Fuck, now I lost my train of thought. When we hide parts of ourselves, we're not going to have the most authentic, genuine, fulfilling connection with people. But when I meet new people and I say something or I share something that is a bit more like vulnerable to share, and then they freaking vibe with it, or they're like, oh my God, I totally feel you and I'm scared about this, or oh, I'm excited about that. Then you're like, oh my gosh, I made a new friend. Exciting. So exciting. And that is like, the people we surround ourselves with are the people who are also going to help boost our confidence. And so that's what's really influential in our journey. And being able to sit here and now say that I have healed from a lot of challenging friend situations, I'm like, I feel such a weird, different experience of confidence than I did before, because suddenly I am making sure that the people I'm spending a lot of my time with are people who have my back no matter what. They have my back when I'm in the room with them, and they have my back when I'm not around them physically. So that to me has changed a lot with my life. And I want to just remind you that this is a whole journey, and it takes time. It takes practice. It takes uncomfortable steps that make us feel like, sometimes I'm like, who the fuck am I? What the fuck is my life? Like, how did all of this come true? How is this even happening? Who am I to post episodes all the time? Like, what? But then I come back to my core and my true deep desires, and I'm like, oh, this is what I want to be doing. This is it. So sometimes you got to ignore either your internal negative voices or ignore the outside negative sources, because whether I'm posting or not, people can talk shit about me. I might as well be pursuing my dreams and letting people talk than not pursuing my dreams and posting a selfie on Instagram once in a while, and people will still talk then. So let them talk about the things you actually want to do with your life. Confidence is weird. Confidence is something I've struggled to kind of formulate thoughts and feelings to make an episode about. So if you enjoyed this, please share it with a friend, post it on your social media, or just let me know that you liked it, because I am happy to share more as more thoughts do come up. Oftentimes I stop my recording and be like, fuck, I didn't mention that thing. So I always got more things to share. Make sure you also submit either a question or a story about the holidays, the things you struggle with most, or the things you enjoy the most, or the weirdest things that go on at your holiday experiences, gatherings, etc., because lots is coming for Human to Human in December, and I will see you next Monday for a new episode. Thanks for listening. I love you, and you got this.